Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm coming at you with another video, which is kind of a summary slash follow-up to my daily setup tour, which, check that video up here in the iCard if you haven't seen it yet. In that video, I talked about how I recently moved from this is my 2017 HP Pavillion 15 series. It was a really good laptop. It's a Windows laptop. I really loved it. But I said I swapped to a MacBook. For someone that does YouTube and who is a student and who does programming, who does all this stuff, why would I switch? Let's find out, and I'll tell you exactly why I swapped from this Windows computer to this MacBook. Let's jump into it. Quick disclaimer, guys, this video has no bias to trash Windows laptops or MacBooks, in case it may seem that way. I'm just talking about why I switched from a Windows laptop to a MacBook. Okay, so starting off my reasoning as to why I switched to a MacBook, my ultimate reason is just I wanted to. I mean, yeah, this was a really good laptop. I've upgraded it myself. It's got 12 gigs of RAM in it. It's got a terabyte solid-state drive, Bluetooth, touchscreen, literally everything you can think of. But with me, who uses an iPad for a lot of my schoolwork, and I have a phone, it's an iPhone, it's not the best device to have. Yes, I could do stuff on my iPad and find a program to transfer it to this, but it's just a hassle. I mean, I really love this computer. In fact, like, you can tell I loved it. I put stickers all over it. This computer went through a lot. I had it running GMAC, which is a skin version of Ubuntu, for a while. So it was a Linux machine that looked like a Mac, and then it was a MacBook for a while, because it was a Hackintosh, because I put it that way. But through everything, it just didn't... It wasn't the laptop that I wanted it to be. Yeah, it was great the first 3 years of school, and now, even at home, it's a really good laptop because I can dump everything for Visual Studio on it. I can just dump stuff for Windows that I need, or that, you know, I don't need to have running on my home server computer, but that I need running on something that I can easily access. So if I need something that I can take with me and do stuff on, that's pretty basic, you know, like slight YouTube editing, which I used to use Movie Maker. Now I'm using primarily iMovie because this is the primary laptop I carry now. But with this does everything I needed it to do, and it still does, and it still holds up really well in 2020 because it's got an 8th gen i5 processor. It's a quad core. 12 gigs of RAM, the terabyte solid-state drive. It's a really good laptop. But it's not a MacBook. And that's ultimately what it boils down to, because this won't work properly with this. This is my iPad. It's a 6th gen. I bought it at Walmart. This was also in my haul video, or not my haul video, my tour video. So, again, check that out up here if you haven't already. Pretty short video, but it was a pretty good video, and it was the first video I entirely edited on iMovie on my iMac. But, yeah, it did have some issues. I mean, Windows was a little buggy, the interface wasn't great, and at school, especially, when they started locking down everything, like, you can't get YouTube at school. There's a lot of stuff you can't get at school, and for me, who works with tech stuff and who's troubleshooting stuff all day long, I need access to that kind of stuff. Where, when this was a Hackintosh, I remember I could download a VPN from the App Store. I could do all that stuff. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons I switched to the MacBook. I mean, yes, my ultimate reason was I felt like it, so I wanted to. But I could have done the same thing on this as a Hackintosh and whatever, and it would have been fine. But, I mean, ultimately, yeah, that's what it boils down to. I wanted to. And I really like the experience that I've had since. Yes, this computer does have a lot more options in terms of I/O. You know, you've got full-size HDMI, you've got Ethernet, you've got USB-C. This is not a Thunderbolt port, though. That I'll get to in a second. Headphone port. And on this side, full-size SD card slot, 2 USB Type-A's, and then there's just a security thing with a barrel plug for a charger. Okay, that's a fairly decent amount of ports, even by today's standards. Whereas my MacBook, by comparison, I've got 2 Thunderbolt ports. And a headphone jack. That's it. Which says volumes about the computer as a laptop. This laptop, I could just come home, I could plug it into, I have a dock thing, I could plug it in via HDMI, and it had display out, it had Ethernet wired in, even though this already has Ethernet. It had all that kind of stuff already in it, so, like, that was great. But the dock itself was really slow. sometimes, and I barely used it, to be perfectly honest. I would just use this. Whereas with this MacBook, I carry with me a little dock thing. It plugs right into the side, and I think I talked about this in my setup tour, but I'm not entirely confident. But I have this thing. It's the hyperdrive dock thing. I'm working on a video for it right now. But this, you seriously just plug it in, and you get a whole bunch of I/O. You got 2 Thunderbolt ports, micro SD, regular SD, 2 USB A's. You get a full-size HDMI port, and it color matches, which is really nice. The only thing is, it does say for MacBook Pro. Oh well, who cares? Because yes, this is a MacBook Air. This is not a Pro series. Which, looking at it now, I probably should have gotten the Pro, because it was $200 more than I paid for this, and it had a quad-core processor and had a touch bar. Really should have gone with the Pro instead of the Air, but I already have this. I'm not going to complain. I love this laptop. My primary things that I like, in reality, Mac OS as a whole. I've always been a fan of Mac OS, even though I always use Windows for stuff. Like, my home server, Windows. My primary laptop forever, Windows. My grandmother's stuff, Windows. It's all Windows. And, I mean, yeah, I run Linux and VMs and stuff, but Mac OS, for me, has just generally been where it's at. My iMac that I have here, I edit for YouTube on it sometimes, but, like, I'll also edit off of this thing when I feel like it. I mean, that thing, I'm setting it up so that when I leave for college at the end of the school year, or in August, whenever the hell it is, I can leave that computer, and my mom can use that to sync her iPod and her iPhone and everything. Because, yeah, I've migrated my entire iTunes library, everything I listen to, everything whatever, I've moved that onto here. Yes, this is a base model MacBook Air. So, in other words, it's only got the dual-core i5 processor, it's only got 8 gigs of RAM, and it's only got 128 gig SSD. And yeah, I carry a 2 terabyte external hard drive with me at all times. So, who cares? In reality, with Thunderbolt and how fast it is, I can just grab stuff off of it whenever the heck I feel like it. And yeah, with Windows, you get the advantage of OneDrive. I had to recently buy an Office 365 subscription for a year. I don't care. I really don't. I'm using it. I love it because it means I have a terabyte of cloud storage, and this thing can also sync directly to OneDrive. You don't need to have a Windows computer to do that. And I've got Word and I've got PowerPoint, but I also have Pages and I have Sheets and I have Keynote. Yeah, they've got some disadvantages to the Windows, Microsoft suite, but they've also got their advantages. And I mean, on top of that, MacBooks, they're just easier to install applications on. You can install VPNs. I mean, yes, the software availability isn't the same as it is on Windows, but it's the same way with Linux. Like, if you wanted a Windows laptop to install, some crap, that's fine. But, on a MacBook, well, not to mention you're a little more selective, because this thing, you can't upgrade the storage on. If I'd have gotten the 2017, I think it was, model, that still had MagSafe as a charger, then I could have upgraded the storage. But nope, can't on this one. It's soldered directly to the board. Screw you, Apple. But that's a story for another time. But, no, I swapped to this laptop because of the fact that, for me, for what I needed to do, I'm a student at a high school, okay? So that means I need to type up essays. I'm going to need to do some college applications. I'm going to need to, write on documents and email them back. Not to mention AirDrop. My iPad only has 32 gigs. So in other words, whenever I'm taking a note on this, or whenever I'm filling in a document, if I need to print it, if I'm not at home or whatever, I can just AirDrop it to my MacBook, remove it from this, clear off the storage. Hi, Marshmallow. You wanted to be in a YouTube video? This is Marshmallow. Who's the kitten? If I want to AirDrop stuff off of this, I can. And have it take up storage on here, and then I can just put it on an external hard drive. Okay, you need to. And it's the same thing with my phone. I mean, this is a lot easier to sync stuff, because I can just plug my phone into it. My whole iTunes library takes up, 10 gigs. That's it. Whereas on here, I'd have to deal with all the files, and iTunes takes up its own space. Here, it's already built in. I mean, I know I've said it before, but ultimately, yeah, it boils down to I wanted to, so I switched. Do I miss Windows? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Visual Studio compared to Xcode, yeah, okay, whatever. This one was a little more powerful than my MacBook. But if I had spent the extra $200, would have been about the same. Upgradability, yeah, I really miss that about my Windows laptop. But this, it looks like it's metal, but it's like, it's plastic. It's plastic. On this is metal. Complete metal. And I really like it. Build quality is like nothing else. And yeah, it's only got the 2 ports, but with my hub, who cares? I just bought some extra cables for my external hard drive that would make it easier to swap the drive from being USB-A plus a dongle to or whatever. No, now it's just one cable. And I really appreciate having Thunderbolt ports because they're so much easier to deal with. And I mean, especially for me who will come home and dock my laptop and do some work like on a big screen, I have this. This is a $100 dock from J5 Create. And in here, you just have this single Thunderbolt cable. It comes out either side, so you can just plug it into your laptop. And then around the back, you've got all these ports. So you've got power, you've got Ethernet, you've got the 2 SD card slots here. You've got USB 3.1, charging via USB 3.0, and then 2 USB 3.0 ports normally. 1 display here, so you can either use HDMI or DisplayPort. A second display, and then a third display, actually. So you can have 3 displays running off of 1 laptop. And if you use the laptop screen, that's 4. And then a mic speaker port. That's pretty normal on any of these docks. But, I mean, yeah, this thing's smaller. It's also a lot less heavy. I mean, yeah, it's made of metal, but comparatively, this one is heavier. And it's, yeah, I love this laptop, and I will. But it's just not, it doesn't do what I need it to do these days. So, having a MacBook, I can have all of my stuff in one place. It's all backed up to iCloud Drive. It's all backed up to OneDrive. I can access it on here. I can access it on my phone. And I can just have everything in one spot. And it's so much easier for me. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. I know this is a bit of a less whatever video than normal. This is just a video that I wanted to make about why I switched to a MacBook. If you've got any comments for video ideas, drop them down below in the description, and then drop a like on this video if you liked it. Click up here to subscribe, and click up here to watch my my tour video in case you haven't seen it. So peace out.